Well, hello, and welcome to the next episode of Making Mannequin Heads into Planters! Ha ha ha! Oh, I love doing that. So I'm not sure which episode this is. This may be 50. It's around 50. I'm getting up there. And so we are working with SculptCrete at this point. Ta-da-ta-da! Works like clay, hardens like concrete. Yes, and it actually really does. Pretty cool. So I'm replacing one of my gloves. We've been working on this, and this is my weird Star Trek face man. He is definitely very fun. Still wet. So what I want to do now, though, is I want to work on the ears, because I do kind of want to give him flippity-floppity ears, since otherwise it's just going to be like, oh, face. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I lied. I'm going to widen his cheeks. So I've only got a certain amount of time to work with this stuff. It is starting to harden up. I'm pushing my limit. I'm about half an hour full, about 35 minutes into the 45-minute limit on it. We'll see how we do. I still have a big old smackaroo of this stuff down here, and I've got some water. So I'm working it with one hand, and so the first I will recap what we've done. Oh, there we go. Suddenly smooth. Oh, that's so cool. So it goes from gritty, work it, suddenly it goes smooth for some unknown reason. Maybe you can tell me. Maybe the platelets all align. I don't know. I heard somebody say that once, and I was like, ooh, that sounds so like technical. I'm like, who knows if he actually knew what he was talking about, but I thought it was cool. So I want to do cheekbones that are really super exaggerated. So we're going to do cheeks. I need to spray him. Get him wet again. Get him wet over here, because I'm going to be working on this side, and it doesn't really adhere unless I do wet. All right, so here we go. We're going to go with equal sides. So what do I do when I want to do pretty much equal sides or balanced sides, some sort of symmetry? I take one big blob and I split it in half with my fingers, and I'm more likely to, I've found in my experience with sculpture and working in different mediums, that I do a lot better of matching up my two different wads of clay or medium that I'm going to be putting on. All right, so there we go. I got my fingers so I can actually do this with these gloves on. I'm going to go at the cheek line, which is just below the eye, right? Where's my cheek line? Ding, ding, right there? Or the whatever that called. Not cheek line. My, oh my God, what is that even called? Jawline. No, that's the bottom. Ooh, we can do something with that too. Whatever that is. So, here we go. Put it right in there. I'm going to fill it right from the face part, right on out and up and way back. That's what's going to make them look weird. And that's what I want, is weird. So this one, I'm going to have a sharper edge on the top and smoother down, whereas all the others have been sharper edge on the bottom, smoother up. And I'm going to need more water in order to do this, because I'm really at the end of the usability of this stuff. But that water does help. I don't care if it's going to make it weaker, because I'm not going for strength with this. Obviously, I'm going for what it's doing. So this is just filler for the cheeks and the whatever that's called. Oh my gosh, it's so funny. I have no idea. I cannot remember for the life of me. Anyway, you're probably yelling at me. Terry, I know, is yelling at me what the word is. She's probably like, ooh, I know. Oh, Patrick, you can't hear me. Terry's my sister, by the way, who has been enjoying watching these and learning about me through my unending speaking, my litanies. So one thing I promised to tell you all about, and I'm going to tell you about in this episode, is I alluded to it. Well, I actually didn't allude to it. I actually mentioned it fully. There we go. That's what I want right through there. And I want the plane to come down straight. So hard edge here, soften, come straight down, and that's the shape of the face that I want. Oh, nice ridge. I want to blend that back smooth it down a little bit more to taper it better. But that's what I want. That is weird looking. I love it. So what I mentioned in the past, and I said I would talk about, and I'm going to talk about right now, is about being on stage with people on fire. No, they were not supposed to be on fire. She was not supposed to be on fire. It was one person. It's my other side that I'm applying right now. So we were doing cozy, performing cozy on stage, and it was just an octet for the chorus, and I was in the chorus at the Lyric in Kansas City. And I was not doing a role, which is fine, because I'm not really the biggest fan of cozy anyway. It's a Mozart opera, if you don't know who it is. So I want this hard, and then I want it smooth. I want to mimic what I did with the last one, which is to pull down and leave the harder edge on the top. I got to get something to push down against. I don't want it to go too far in, and I don't want it to be too low. So I'm taking off this end of it. So anyway, so we're literally performing the show, Cozy fan tutte, on stage at the Lyric. And this was, I can't tell you what year this was. I have absolutely no idea, but Margaret Hauber, wonderful, amazing woman, was one of the mezzos in the chorus. The chorus of 8, if that's called the chorus, the vocal ensemble. And we, in one scene, so I'll get to it, one scene is that we were attendants. And all we did, so there were 2 of us on stages, and there was, I don't remember, I don't think we were actually singing much in that scene, whatever it was. But it's during a baritone aria, and we were holding candelabras. And sort of in doorways, right? So we were like servants who were holding, but we were in full costume, period costume with masks. We had these fabulous, cool masks. Couldn't tell you what actual scene it was because that doesn't, like, I don't remember things that way. Margaret probably could, actually. Margaret, if you ever watch this, you're going to be sitting there going, well, Patrick, so-and-so was performing and such, and it was this year, and it was this scene. So what happened was Margaret had feathers on her, coming up from her headdress and the mask. Really beautiful plumes that came up. And Margaret got her candelabra too close to him, and they caught on fire on her head. She didn't know she was on fire. All I hear suddenly from backstage, Margaret's on fire! Margaret's on fire! You can imagine how that goes over well in a theater, and nobody knew what to do, so you hear this trump, 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 trump. She was stage right. I was all the way stage left, so I'm sitting there going, how long will it take me to get to Margaret to put the fire out? How do I put the fire out? Do I tackle her? What the hell am I gonna do? I mean, this is a true story, people. It's like, what the hell am I gonna do? So I hear all this tromping backstage. The baritone, this fabulous, wonderful big man, in his aria, during his aria, strides across the stage, takes one hand, takes the base of the feather above her head, so it goes right over to her. I mean, she's probably like, what the hell's going on? Takes the feather, strips the feather off, throws the flaming parts into the air, and it burns out midair. It was like a frickin' magician's show on stage, completely unanticipated or unplanned. And he never stopped singing, never lost a beat, and incorporated it into what he was doing. It was the wildest thing. I don't think the audience even knew that Margaret was not supposed to be on fire on stage during his aria. Because he made it like literally during his phrase that he was like, ba-da-da-da-da, and off goes the top of the plume of the feather, burns up in midair, And it was just like, I just wanted to sit there and go, and like, drop my candelabra and applaud. We get backstage. Margaret didn't know what was actually going on. Mike Phillips was with me, and he was just like, I'm backstage trying to figure out how to do this, what to do. I couldn't, or I think he was backstage or he was on stage, whatever it was. We were all just like, how long will it take me to get to her? How can I put her out? What am I going to do? Do we break character? And this spectacular performer just strides over and puts Margaret out. So really freaking hilarious. And that is cool. So that brought everything together. I'm going to smooth this with a wet finger just because I do want it to be blended fully throughout and into what I did before. It's getting a little gritty. So I do want to smooth, 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 smooth. I've got a sponge here. I wonder if that would work. Let's try. Where did I put my sponge? Let's try my sponge. It's damp. Is this going to texture? What is this going to do? There we go. Yep, so that was Cozy at the Lyric. The one time I did it at the Lyric, I've never done it. I didn't do it again at the Lyric. I don't know how often they've done it. Lyric Upper Kansas City, which is a very different crew now, because they have the new Performing Arts Center, and it's a fabulous space. This was in the old hall that they used, the Masonic Lodge, where we used to perform in Kansas City, downtown Kansas City, before they built the new Performing Arts Center. So many years ago. Super fun. Crazy, crazy stuff. Fabulous. And great singers. Really good time. You never know what's going to happen on stage. But what do you not do? Freak out. What do? You just stride across the stage and put Margaret's head out. Put the fire, get rid of the fire from Margaret's head. And just, that's amazing to me. He never missed a note. Oh, how does somebody do that? That's called a pro. All right, so we are good to go on the sculpting of the face. I have a rough spot that I do not like on this nose. It's very frustrating. It's really weird. I like all the rest of it, but I can't get this to smooth down. And it's like a very prominent spot on the nose. Oh, all I needed was more water, apparently. That did it. Yeah, so I kind of like it. I really like it. I think it's fun, wacky, and because it's setting up, it's making me stopping being able to work on it, which is a very, very good thing. So here we are. Get this blended a little bit back here. I've got a line. I don't like lines. There. Now it blends into the rest of them. There's the face. Wacky, wacky, wacky. I love it. So now I'm going to do something around the chin. I do still have some of this. I've got about 15 minutes that I can do it in, and I'll see if I can still use any of this. Because if I can, I'm going to do jawline. Let's see if I can get this to smush and still be usable at all. It seems like it's still getting soft. I don't know. All right, yeah, I'm liking this so far. What I want to do is I just want to make the jaw line stand out from the neckline a little bit more. So I need to spray, get them just damp. You don't want to get them wet. It'll dry fast enough as it is. I want to make it an equal amount on both sides. I've got a pretty good sized lump here. Pinch it in half. That way I have pretty much equal amounts for each side. I'm going to roll this out. Apply this from the chin over on the bottom side and up and through to the ear, to the beginning of the ear. I can still see the beginning of the ear a little bit. I want the top to be flat and I want the bottom to be a hard edge. All the way back to the ear. top flat, flatten, 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 flatten. I'll probably pinch off some from the end, but I do want it to get really stuck on there, all the way out to the chin, and bring it around the chin to halfway, and then I'll meet the other one on the other side. But I don't want to mess with what I've already got on there because I love that bottom lip. So get a little water, press it in there, and smooth it down. I'm right at the end of my timeline on this stuff. So I don't want it to necessarily, well, it could look like a beard. I'd be okay with that if it juts out a little bit, but I really want it to look more like part of the face. So, God, these gloves. I know I keep whining about them. Ooh, and you can tell that it's at the end because it's cracking, which is fine, because I can always smooth that. There we go. I'm gonna bring it down toward the back, really make it overly squared. Super pronounced. Not mess up what I've already got done, like I said. And then bring it and just smudge it underneath, so I know that it's smoothed out underneath and incorporated as part of it. I'm gonna add some more underneath to fill in right under the front here. It's where the throat comes down a little bit more. Make that so that the chin comes down. I'm going to do the other side, and then I will do some finishing on it. Super angular, which I really am happy with. So let's go from the center out, right along the jawline that's already there. Squish from the top to flatten the top. Let the bottom come around. Like a square chin, not a pointy chin out, but more squared off. This is good. Good, 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 good. Hate these gloves. Right up to the ear, and that's coming off. Nice square. Pull it down, and I'm going to smooch underneath. Working a lot faster than I normally do, which is not a bad thing for me. Mr. Slow motion here. There we go. I like that. Because I don't know how much I'll be able to actually do any changes to this once it's completely dry. I don't think sanding will really work, or that I even want to, because of what it is, right? Where's it going? It's going outside. Don't want cracks though. It's something I'm going to smooth down. So I blend it in. There we go. You can see it's less pointy outy, more an extension of the jaw. That's better. Just elongating the face. More flat plane down here. Comes around the bottom. Little Abe Lincoln face going on. If you don't know what that reference is to, look him up. If you see pictures of Abe Lincoln, you'll see what you'll be like, oh yeah, I get it. There we go. Look at that. Pressing it right in. Just going. Try to make it somewhat even on both sides. Make sure this is squished down. You can overlap some, I'm fine with that. Build in just a little bit more. If I can keep using just a little bit more. There we go. Same thing I did on the other side. This jaw does, it's kind of cool actually. Kind of like how it comes up in the center for the chin instead of going down. That's happy circumstance right there. That's really wild. And then bring it around, flatten it, smooth it, comes right to the ear, which I absolutely love. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to build it back with the very last batch of this that I can use. I need to add a little water. And I'm just going to make a rope on either side and put it right underneath the actual jaw. Actually, where am I? Oh, I kind of like this. It's like an undercut under the jaw. Make sure this side comes right up to the ear, not beyond it, and that it's flattened down. That's the plane of the face. You know, I think that's where I want it. Ta-da. That is much better. Longer face is definitely what I needed. The jaw is exactly what I needed. Guarantee. Just smooth it on the neck. Or the throat, sorry. It's interesting, so in German, your throat is the front part, and you use the word for throat for the front part. And whereas we use like, oh, my neck, you know, it's like all the way around. The neck, Knecke, in German refers only to the back. Which I think it probably does in English too, but I've never really differentiated it like until I learned the German. That Knecke is very specifically just the back. I don't think in English we delineate it as like, or make it so defined of a difference. There we go. That's cool. And we have a face. Bum, bum, bum. Look at that. Cool. Let me bring the other one up here. Here we go. I like how extreme it is. I like where it's gone. Once it all is one color, it'll make more sense. See the jaw. And I think that will make, it looks like his eyes are closed, which is what I wanted. He's got the weird nose thing, which is what I wanted. I wanted it surreal. So the next thing I may do is give him ears, but maybe not. Maybe I'll just do, oh, you know, I could do it right now. I've got time. And I think I have enough clay to be able to do it. I think I'm going to do a ridge. I'm going to give him, make him even more lizardy. Apparently he's become a lizard man-ish. But I'm going to do a snake. It seems to be still, stuff is absolutely incredible. It's still going. Add a little water and it smooths out and boom, just got softer. And I'm now blind because my length is still like that. All right, let's do this next 5 minutes. I'm gonna roll it out. What I want is I want it a lot heavier at the top, and then I'm gonna have it taper down. And it's not anything that's new or original, but what I'm gonna do is about the center of his, where are you? Where's your ears? Ear, all right, center. Let's do this. I'm gonna go from the bottom. Press it. Ooh, you know what I didn't do? Gosh. There we go. Help. I don't need it to be perfectly straight on the way up. So I'm gonna get a little water on my fingers, both hands, and I'm gonna press it down into the layer that's already on there. This is why I did the layer a little bit thicker and why I did the first layer in the first place. As I mentioned before, it'll make sense later. Well, it does, right? Because now I need that solid base to work on, to press against, to be able to adhere to, instead of trying to put it directly onto foam and sculpt onto foam. I had just thought, you know, I thought through it and I was just like, you know, I don't like the idea of just sculpting directly onto foam. Kind of sucks to think that I would have to work that hard. I don't know how the foam is going to do around it. I don't know what kind of surface, happy or sad surface I would be on. As I'm doing this, I've got one finger supporting the ridge. The other finger is blending down just like I did on the other side. Just pulling it down and smoothing it onto there. Give myself a little bit more water. Continue this going. And use that water. Now, should I do anything with the actual ridge? So it's about centered. Yes, of course I should. Who wants just a plain old ridge when I have the option of making something more, right? I know you would agree. Gonna have to come down. Maybe use a merman. I hadn't thought of that. I don't want any sharp edges. So let's make it so that it indents here and there. I'm gonna use a tool, indent, fold. So this is what I'm doing. If you can see what I'm doing, I'm going in at an angle, just pressing forward, and then folding it down toward me. Press it forward. I'm not cutting in. I'm pressing it down. Fold it down and press down. Forward. Fold it down. Forward. Now, why would I know to do this, to press it forward when I did it? Because I've done this before with other sculptures. And long time ago, but as soon as I picked up the tool, I was like, oh yeah, I remember. Because I originally, when I did it with that, I learned that if you cut in, it really messes with it. It does not come out the way you want it to, even though that's the inclination. So that worked out very, very much exactly how I wanted it. There we go. Bring this down at the base of the skull and let it run however it wants to. Because with these gloves, it doesn't want to. If I had bare fingers, it would. This doesn't seem to build up any heat, so I'm wondering if it would be a terrible thing to use to have bare hands with this. Sculpting with gloves on sucks. I know I keep mentioning it, but it just doesn't seem to get any less sucky. All right, and that's it. Wet it a little bit on each side to smooth that edge down. Get it right in there. That's better. Already got some wet on this side. Smooth that down. Doesn't need to be perfect, but I do want it to be nice. And then that little ridge down at the very end. Take it down so it's not quite so sharp. And rough. There we go. All right, my friends. I'm at time. So suddenly he is maybe a merman. He's got a ridge on his back. Pretty badass, and he has evolved the entire time that I have been sculpting, because I just kind of went with what it felt like it needed to go, what directions I needed to go, and I like him. I'm happy. All right, so I will see you on the next episode. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share. I'm done with my gloves, so yeah, I need to clean up this last batch. I'll use the glove. Look at that. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Remember, give yourself lots of space. Relax, man, relax. So we always are harder on ourselves than other people, but we're also really hard on other people. Post-COVID, don't be so hard on other people. I have to remind myself constantly, and I'm not being good about it. So I'm trying to be better about it. I encourage you to do the same, but also give yourself lots of space. Take it easy on yourself, all right? And have a wonderful day. Put more love out in the world. Thank you, Sir Elton John. Bye.